first thing we are going to do before we start playing the run is just kind of go over the premise of this game. So, what this game is a game with horrible controls for the Super Nintendo. The 80% ending, which I also have a leaderboard for that one, is just going through all 15 stages, so 3 stages in each country, as fast as you can, and that's the end of the game. At the third stage in each country has a boss fight. In the 100% ending, you collect 11 cards in each country, and if you see on the splits here, this is how many is in each stage. So in England there's 3 stages, in the first one there's 4, in the second stage there's 3, and then the third stage there's 4, so 11 in each country. And then if you collect all of them, then you get a bonus stage after the country's boss. And in the bonus stage, you have to collect all the little items and then collect the trophy at the end. And then once you have 5 trophies, one from each country, an extra boss appears, which is the alien who has stolen the World Cup trophy, or the pieces of it, or something. It's really hard to understand what's actually going on, but there's one extra boss fight. And there are lots of little tricks in this game that I use to make sure I hit jumps in the right spot. Little cues and things like that. So I probably won't go over all of those little things, but the very first one is that, and the very first card of the game, if you go at a very particular pace, and on like the 9th juggle of the ball, you can hit a card, and I actually get it on the first try in this run, on the only try, so let's play it.
Alright, last one. Last one, we're getting tired.
So here's England. Or in the Japanese version, they call it London. So very particular jumps to keep speed and not have to stop at all, to maximize all the time saves. So here's the first card trick. If you start juggling without stopping at all, and on a very particular spot you kick the ball, it bounces off of the platform and carries and hits the card. And you see the bottom right, I did get the first card. It was a very difficult shot, but I have figured out a way to make it sort of consistent. So I'm now maybe like 40% of the runs I'll get it. So I got a invincibility, which this is the only time in the run I'll actually be getting it because it saves time. And if you look away too quick, you'll miss me getting all the cards. But this game is very fast paced. It'll be pretty difficult for me to commentate on every little thing going on. But let's see the second one. So here's card number 1, and then immediately jumping over this bike. Some skateboarders. And the best song in the game is from this stage, kicking a card off screen. So if the ball hits a card, you collect it as well. So it's very useful to, like, hitting cards off screen, trying to not have to manually go get them if they're out of the way. So I've really optimized where I get cards manually and where I can kick them from. Here is a little mistake. Usually I get it, but the tree with only 1 jump. But for some reason it took me 4 tries, I think. So I lost a little bit of time there. It's like one of the only time losses in this run. The card up there is not able to be collected by kicking the ball, just where the angle is. And so it's faster just to jump up there and get it than try to find a way to kick the ball at it. Now here, this card is able to be gotten from the ground on a kick, but there are 2 enemies down there throwing wrenches, who are the most difficult enemies in the game to jump over because they throw a wrench at a very particular time. Oh, and that jump over that dog that I just got is just about frame perfect to not get touched by the dog in the front or the back end. So it was very nice to get that in this run. And upcoming is the first ball bounce. It's a little technique where you can jump really high and really far, but for some reason at the end of it, he always has to do this little double back animation. So in some parts of the run, you'll see me do it immediately to cancel it out, and in some parts I will actually continue with that double back motion until the end of the stage, so I don't have to get it at all. And here's the first boss fight. So damage boosting through him just to get some more kicks on him, and we're through England. So here comes the first trophy stage. And these stages are difficult to do fast just because of the blocks. It's very particular of when, like, of the ball's positioning in relationship to the blocks. So what I found is to get as close to them as possible, you can get both blocks to explode with one kick. So I'll run up to them, and as fast as I can try to get rid of these blocks so I can collect all the little items. You have to collect all the little, there might be candies, something like that. Pretty self-explanatory, kicking the ball at them when I can, and manually collecting ones where it's faster than having to try to find the angle, kick the ball at it. That was pretty good. Saved a decent amount of time there. Now Italy, the first stage in Italy is pretty tricky. So we have to wait for this bird because he's in the way. So we have to do this double back to wait for the bird and wait for him to pass over, and then we can jump over him. And there's a little slide mechanic where if you briefly touch down as you're running full speed and then repress the direction, you will do a little slide. So you saw me slide under that clam. And I did a very particular jump to get over the first bike, and the second motorcycle guy wasn't quite able to hit the jump. It's okay. And there's fourth cards. Now here's probably my favorite stage in the game. There's a trick at the beginning to kick a card off screen, and then a very difficult jump, which I think in this run I actually missed, but it's not a full jump. It's maybe like an 80% jump, so you have to roll your thumb off and back on, and it's this one between these spikes. Do I hit it? No, I jumped too high. So if you jump too high, the block on top of you will fall down and hit. If you jump too low, you will hit the spikes. But you have to jump at a very particular height to just make it over. But it's okay that I didn't hit it. It saves just a little bit of time. And here's your second ball bounce to go up and get this card up here. And that was a pretty decent stage other than missing that jump at the beginning. So here you'll see the slide under the clam. And now we have to, and it's very close, but you cannot jump up here without the ball bounce. So you saw the double back. I canceled it out earlier so that I didn't have to deal with it when there's enemies around. There's a very particular jump over the barrel, and here's an off-screen card kick. Going pretty well, and here's an interesting little mechanic of riding these pants. And here's the last card for Italy. And here's not the most difficult, but a very tricky one, because there's a very specific position where the ball has to be in order to be able to get these shots simultaneously. Otherwise, the ball will just go under him. And I got the spot, so that's why you see I got 10 hits on him in a row. So that was good. And after, if you get those, the positioning for him to get hit, then the boss fight's pretty easy. It's just making sure you start from the right spot on the ground for the ball to be able to hit him. Now the second Italy trophy. In this bonus stage, there's a couple spots where I kick the ball across gaps to hit little candies, which saved a bunch of time in this run. In the last couple runs, I've found some new spots to use them, so you will see it coming up. So we got one here, so we don't have to jump over there. And then another one to get those ones behind me. Very quick. Ball spawn is pretty good. That one was could have been better. And pretty smooth. Let's see, and we lost half a second, not a big deal. Russia. Or they call it Red Square in the Japanese version. So those beavers always start to climb up when, or not, whatever there are, they start to climb up whenever you get near them. So if you jump in a very particular spot, you will always get over them. The guys on the sleds go the exact same speed as you, so if they're going in the same direction, you can run right behind them and nothing will happen. So here is a very particular off-screen kick for the cards up there. And then there's one in the secret little spot down below. This stage is pretty quick. There we go. Now this stage is long. It has 5 cards in it, and it's really interesting. There's a little trick at the beginning where I hold up at a very particular angle and to the right, and you will get all these jumps in a row without having to change your input at all, just holding up and right. But if you hold right slightly too soon before the up, then it won't work. So it's very particular. But we got it there. And a very small jump to get in the gap, we got it, which is good. Hasn't taken any damage yet. Just one, that's okay. Here's a ball jump going up here to get this card, and then there will be one more card that we will kick off screen. And if you see, I continued to jump there because it canceled out that little double back motion that happened from the ball bounce of going up. And so I waited until I was on a moving platform, which is basically an auto scroll for a second for that double back motion to get canceled out. You see the sled was going the exact same speed as we were, so we can just follow right behind him. Very particular jump. And here we're going to damage boost off of this little animal to get up the tree a little faster, otherwise he knocks you off. And hitting that spike right there was a mistake. It caused me to die right there, but this is a very short death. It was only 6 seconds, so the run continued. We gotta climb up to get one card, is just sitting way up there. It's a good jump over that guy. And here's the last card, and then an interesting boss fight. The boss is on a 100% fixed pattern. Nothing you do affects her pattern. So it's just timing the jumps and the kicks to her pattern. Going pretty smooth. You see we lost a little bit of time there. That was from that death. But 6 seconds behind is not a big deal. Because in this run I have a big time saves later that we are targeting. So in these bonus stages, it was really important for me to go through and find the exact path, because they're not really linear. So I went through all of them and found the fastest and most linear path from the start to the finish. Sometimes the ball cooperates exactly where you want. Sometimes it doesn't. It's just really particular with the bounces and where the ball will get stuck. But that one went pretty well. You see we saved almost all of our time back on the really good trophy stage, so that's good. Now Japan 1 and 3, they're the most different stages in the game. They're basically mazes. There's all these like springs and weird mechanics and different enemies. So you'll see lots of interesting things here. So these robots take 4 hits. And I will damage boost through a couple of them, but not the first one. So here's one, damage boosting through that one. We're gonna, this card will not be off screen, but it saves a little bit of time to kick it there. Did not want to take that damage, but that just means the later part of this level will be a little risky, because we have to damage boost here, because if you take your time trying to kill that robot, then the little spark on the wall will hit you, so you have to damage boost through that one. So normally if I had any health left, we wouldn't take this as slow, but because we have no health left, we're taking it as safe as possible, trying to kill these scientists who drop these fire tubes on the ground. And that was good. We got the spring jump on the first try. Sometimes the spring likes to troll you a little bit and doesn't let you bounce exactly when you want. And here, we're going to save a lot of time by getting this fast cycle on the platform. So once you touch the elevator platform, it starts its cycle. And I'm trying to refill my health and get back in time, and we just made it, which saves probably 8 to 10 seconds over any previous run. So you'll see the time save coming up at the end of this country. Jumpy jump, going through all the conveyor belts. And you have to wait for that red light to turn green so you can go through. If you go in and while it's red, it'll suck you up like a little vacuum and you'll go back to the top of that building. And the only stage in the game that goes left. So you have to wait for these moles to stop digging, otherwise their little pellets that they hit, or the coal that they're digging will hit you. We have to kill this one squirrel to get him off screen so we can set ourselves up for a ball bounce. And you see there's a little double back, but we got rid of it there so we don't have to worry about it when the robots are nearby. Damage boost across there. And you can either jump or duck or slide under these signs, but when there's robots nearby, you mostly always want to jump. Jumping is faster than the sliding. But if the timing is off, like if there's a robot and you just jumped over him and then or you have to stop for that card like there, then sliding or ducking sometimes is better. Everything went pretty smooth. And there is a trick in this stage that is very difficult to get. There's a really long conveyor belt with the spikes and a card at the end, and the card's up in the air. So if you kick the ball straight down, it won't hit the card. You have to kick the ball sometime. You have to get it up in the air and bounce down the conveyor belt, which is really hard to do. And you'll see me go for it after we climb back up to the top of this area. I think in this run I actually missed it. And because I missed it and I was already on the conveyor belt, I just ran down to manually get it instead of setting myself up for a second try. So you see it on top, there's a conveyor belt. So what the trick is, you have to kick the ball up, and as it's bouncing, then you kick it up in the air. But since the ball was rolling, I knew it wasn't going to hit, so I had to run down and manually get it. But if I would have gotten that on the first try, that would have saved a good amount of time, not having to run down and get that card. Just taking a quick little health refill. Riding up the elevators. Just cruising along, making my way through the maze. And here you have to wait for this elevator to come back. There is a card in a secret room up there. The ball cannot reach it, and your ball bounce cannot get you high enough, so you have to wait. And then we just get it, and we turn around, run back in. So we have to wait for this vacuum to stop. And here's some more springs that sometimes will troll you and not let you on. Like you see this one, after I got the card. Oh, actually, no. It worked pretty well that time. Got hit, but that's okay. So here, I missed kicking the ball at the card. Usually from being behind the spike, behind that false wall, I can kick the ball at the card, but it didn't work that time, so I had to run down and manually get it. Lost a couple seconds, maybe 2. Now time for boss fight. So every boss fight has more health than the previous one before it. And this is the only boss fight that is in a contained room, which means after the boss fight is over, you don't have to run to the right side of the screen for you to scroll off to go to the next area. So boss fight went pretty well, pretty smooth. You can just stand wherever and it'll go to the next screen. But in all the other boss fights, if the boss is killed from anywhere on the screen, you will have to run off screen to the right. It automatically scrolls you over, so that's why every other boss I always run to the right side of the screen so that he doesn't have to go through that running animation and you immediately are over on the right side of the screen. So it's very particular to get the ball to spawn and to kick it as fast as possible. So you hold the same button to spawn it as you do to kick it. And if you hold it and then if you hold it too long, then he'll start juggling. So you have to hold it and let go when the ball respawns and then quickly repress it again to kick it. So that's what I always try to do throughout the run is hold, let go, and repress quick. But if you do it slightly at the wrong time, he'll start juggling. which happens a lot in the trophy stages because of how many times you try to respawn the ball and kick it immediately rather than just respawn and run with it. You see, we're a little bit of ahead because of that cycle I made in the first Japan stage. So we're taking this one a little safe just to make sure. And here I have to wait a split second because this little rock comes down before I can jump and get the card. Otherwise, the little rock will hit you. So taking some of those jumps a little safe, just to make sure we don't get hit and lose too much damage. But we're doing pretty well. Another false floor, and then we kick an off-screen card. And there's one more card up top. Good jumps. Those are good jumps to get over the mouse, but under the bird. It's kind of particular to get the jumps at the right height, because you can jump at all different heights. Small jump, medium, big, 80%. Now this stage is difficult with the route that I'm taking now of not getting more extra health, only having 3 hearts. The first slide worked, which is good. We didn't get hit. Some of these slides are kind of tricky, so I might miss this one. Let's see. Yeah, we didn't get that one, so we didn't want to take damage there or there. So we're at less health than we want to be ideally. So which means after I get the card on top of the lifeguard chair, we'll probably refill our health just to be sure we don't die, for safety, because the top of this little platform is all these clams that are in the way when you're trying to do this get through. And luckily only got hit once, which is fine. Getting hit once is kind of what you expect trying to get through that false floor. And after you get that card, you can just run straight to the goal. Last stage. Last real stage, and there's a bonus stage and a boss fight. So this is the only stage in the game where I take an intentional death because of where the checkpoint is located, which is a little... Oh, first, there's a very particular kick for an off-screen card, which saves a whole cycle of having to wait for the platform and go get it. It saves a lot of time to hit that. But it was good we got that there. So because of where the checkpoint is in this stage... there is an underground area after the checkpoint where you have to travel. So there's a checkpoint, the pole, and then after that, oh wait, so we had damage boost through him because that dog on the platform was impossible to jump through without getting hit. So here's this area where there's a card way at the end of this area, all the way here. So we kick the ball to get the card off screen, and then we take a fast intentional death, which warps you away from that area and back up top to the checkpoint, which is faster than having to manipulate your way through those rats and spikes and not get hit. So damage boost through that dog again, and we're on to... Oh, so we're waiting for that sign. This says don't walk and walk. If it says don't walk, the sound will fall on you. So we waited just so we had a little bit of extra health. So see, that's when I'm trying to spawn the ball and kick at the same time, and I did it too fast. So the ball started juggling instead of kicking. So that's why this is a little bit slower than this boss fight should have been. It was, I think, 5 seconds slower than it should have been, but because of all the time save I had in the California area from not dying, the previous run before this I died in California, so that's why we're so far ahead. And the trophy stage and the boss fight go really smoothly. So you can't forget to turn left at the beginning of this bonus stage. There are some little burgers to the left, which you can't really see on the screen. So we make sure we do everything linear and not have to turn back and go anywhere twice. And this one is a little difficult just because there are platforms, like this one up here on the top left, where there are 3 blocks stacked high and you have to clear them. Sometimes the ball will kind of get like stuck on them, but luckily the ball didn't get stuck at all. Everything went really smooth, so this is a really fast bonus stage. So you'll see that as this is going to be a gold split, or a best split for this trophy stage. And here's the final boss. We're going to hit him off screen once, or not off screen, but on top of us once, and then we'll just kind of spam hits at him for a while. And then we'll do up diagonal kicks at him while he gets his little flamethrower ready. Damage boost through him, it's fine. And you stay in the middle, he won't hit you. Except for, put his hand up, but you're pretty safe there. And very good boss fight. This might be also a gold split. And it is. And there is a new PB world record for me. You can see I'm very happy with that one. So, besides the time loss in Russia from that fast death and a couple minor things, the run went really smooth. So, there's a little bit of room for improvement, but not much. So, this one I'm happy with for a while. We'll see how it goes between now and AGDQ if I want to try to decrease this anymore. Like getting sub 23 would be nice, but I don't know how realistic that is because pretty much everything will have to go well for that to happen. But so let the credits scroll through a little bit and then I'll end the video. Thanks for watching. There was a death in there.
I think there was
Myself is correct. There was a death in there.
I think I might have died. Right? Isn't that when maybe?
Yeah, there was.
Something happened in Russia. I don't know what it was. I either died or I think I lost like 9 seconds there.
And that is Soccer Kid, or Soccer Kid as it's called in Europe and Japan. In the US they changed the name to Adventures of Kid Cleats for some reason, and the game is just slightly different and just that you can like choose your kid's colors, but I just play the Japanese version. It doesn't have any password screens. The jump button is up instead of a button, which means I can just kind of roll my thumb, which I'm really used to that way. I know it's difficult for most people to play games where up is jump, but I've gotten used to it in this game, so it's kind of the way I want to play it.